Few minutes. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm told the microphone is loud, so I'm going to find the right spot. Do I move back? Do I move forward? Good morning again. Before I read the great, fantastic script they have for me here, I just want to say what an honor and a privilege it is to be back on this campus. You forget, it's been a long time, but back when I was here with T-Rex and Brontosaurus in the day, you forget how just naturally beautiful it is. And I'm not going to make it so long before I come back again because it's just gorgeous. And I'm glad we have the tent because New England can be New England. But I'm also glad we have a day where we really don't need it. And so we can have conversations out on the quad when we're done. Welcome to the grand opening celebration. A really remarkable day for Ranger Hall, the new home of the Harrington School of Communication and Media. Thank you for being here today and joining in this celebration. To the adults, especially to the students as well, to anyone who's had even a tiny part in this magical moment. Thank you. Thank you for your time and your commitment and your resources. My name is John King. Every now and then I'm on cable television. And I was telling some students inside earlier, you don't realize it at the time, but I now know I'm from the class of 1985. It is hard for me to believe that 35 years ago is when I left this remarkable place. And like most people who are, 20, 21 years old, when you leave this place, you have no idea at the time the gift it has given you. I know much better now the gift it has given me. It's hard to convince young people of that, but you do learn when you hear, thanks Mom for the DNA, when your hair changes colors. I was not a perfect student here. I was a kid who came here not knowing what I wanted to do and who I was going to be, right? Like most 17-year-olds. So for the younger people or for parents or for teachers who have to deal with that moment of who am I? Why am I here? That's actually the gift of being here. That's the way it's supposed to be. You're still young and you're learning. And I was far from a perfect student. Pretty good grades, pretty good grades. But I came here as an English and a history major. I thought I would be a lawyer or a teacher. I had a Shakespeare professor who was smart enough to say, "Kid, you seem to like to write. Why don't you go try a journalism class?" I had a little room in my schedule. And then I had journalism professors who said, "We can teach you the inverted period, we can pyramid, we can teach you to be objective, we can teach you the building blocks, but the only way you're going to know whether you really want to do this or whether you want to fall in love with this is to go do it." And they pushed me to get an internship at the Associated Press in Providence. And I cannot believe they pay people to do this. It's the curiosity business. For those of you old enough to remember those days, the mid-1980s in Rhode Island, where Buddy Cianci was mayor, an inmate. Arlene Violet was the nun turned attorney general. The Bevilacquers were the chief justice and the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, who happened to show up at the annual mob meeting. It was a Disney World time for young journalists here in. And I quickly fell in love, even as I went to school still, and was blessed to get a job even before I graduated from the University of Rhode Island. I'm lucky. It won't be that easy for everybody graduating from this program. I actually had to go to my professors in March of 1985 and say, "You're not going to see much of me for the rest of the year because I've been offered this job." And they were nice enough, kind enough, and giving enough to let me do my work in different ways so I could start the job. And it's been a long and remarkable ride. And I owe so much of it to this place, to this beautiful place, and to the people who were here then. And I can only tell the students who are here now, you might not realize it every day, but you're getting the same gift that I now realize I got when I walked this beautiful place. We're going to have a very short program here because I'm going to stop talking. Then we're going to have a ribbon cutting ceremony. And then for those of you who want to take a tour, I got a brief. I'm going to get to every room, but I got a brief earlier. It's just a remarkable facility. There'll be some Harrington School student brand ambassadors to help with a guided tour if you want to go through and look at the facility, look at the remarkable place it is to help these young students. We're here, as I said, to celebrate the Harrington School of Communications and Media and the revitalized. That's a good word. I like that word. Who wrote that? Who gets credit for that? Dean Riley gets credit for that. Revitalized Ranger Hall at the new home of the School of Communications. The Harrington School of Communication and Media is home to the Department of Communication Studies, Film, Media, Journalism, Public Relations, Writing, Rhetoric, Library and Information Studies, 1,200 students. I don't think there were that many when I was here. 1,200 students pursuing their degrees. Students across the school engage in learning, not just in the classroom, but also in numerous experiential, this is so important, numerous experiential learning opportunities and internships. Notably, over 250 students per year complete an internship, including students, this one's cool, this was not here when I was here, in our Harrington Athletics Partnership, where students from the production teams get to live broadcast URI athletic events to ESPN Plus using Harrington's state-of-the-art broadcast studio located in Chafee Hall. If that were here when I was here, I'd be doing sports. At this moment, I'm pleased to introduce one of the fabulous people who makes this place happen. Amina Kotari is the director of the Harrington School of Communications and Media. You know Amina, but I'm going to read the introduction anyway. She joined URI, the Harrington School, in the fall of 2021. Interesting time to join a new program. Following a national search, a professor in journalism, Director Kotari's interdisciplinary research explores the role of technology. This is the biggest piece of our business right now. Explores the role of technology in transforming communication and journalism practices. Over the last year, the director has worked closely with URI's campus design, capital projects, LLB architects. Never thought as a journalist you'd get into the construction business, did you? And tower construction to bring Ranger Hall renovation to a wonderfully, it's remarkable, successful conclusion. Please welcome Dr. Kotari.
Good morning, distinguished guests, Harrington School and URI faculty, staff, alums, and community members. Thank you all for being here today on this wonderful occasion. Before I go over the prepared remarks that I have, I want to take a moment to recognize my faculty and staff who make Harrington School a home for our students. So if you could take a moment and ask everybody to stand up, Harrington faculty and staff, please. Thank you. There are very few communication and media schools that have their own dedicated building. So the new Ranger Hall helps to solidify Harrington's position as a national leader that not only provides timely education, but also resources and facilities for students to practice the skills that they are getting in the classroom. It's and you are going to get a tour if you haven't. It's a state-of-art facility, and I know that because I spent the last year learning all about construction and what goes into renovating a building of this size. Harrington's 7 academic programs are distinct, but they are all interrelated. There's space for a student who is interested in documentary film, who can also work with a journalism student who wants to go in a legacy media. There's also a place for PR students to be rubbing elbows with writing and rhetoric students. What we are hoping to prepare are students who are effective communicators and storytellers, who are able to go in an industry job that exists right now, but also are prepared to adapt the skills that they're learning from here for the jobs that are not even existing today, but will be coming in the next 5 years. A renovation like this requires a focused, collaborative team, and this renovation would have not been possible without guidance from a lot of people. So I would like to take a moment to thank some people who made this possible. I would like to start with Catherine Kittredge and Steve Leonard from Campus Design, who helped me choosing the furniture. That's an important thing. Support from Paul DePacey and Shane. Shane, actually, can I have you stand up for a moment? My last year would have been very difficult without you. Thank you. Shane is on my speed dial. He answers my questions. Sometimes he just calms me down when the building temperature, because we have a smart building now and it has its own mind, and sometimes it's too hot and it's too cold. I would also like to thank LLB Architects for the design work and tower construction, as well as the subcontractors and the 50 union workers who helped to make the project a success. Dennis, if you are here, I would like you to stand as well. Dennis joined the project earlier this year. He went the extra mile as well to ensure the renovations were completed on time. There were many moments in the last year when we did not think it was going to be possible to have this celebration, but Dennis was there. So thank you, Dennis, for all the extra work. Today's event would also not be possible without support from the President's Office, the Provost Office, Division of Administration and Finance, the College of Arts and Sciences, the URI Foundation, and the Harrington School of Communication and Media. Some of the faculty were actually teaching classes right now, so they could not be here, staff and student workers. Special thanks to Joanne Esposito from the Office of University Events for helping to plan the event. It was many, many months, the planning, and her team as well, who are here today. I would also like to recognize Katie Babula and her team. They were amazing last night, and they are here today providing AV support as well. And the custodial service for making sure everything is pretty, setting it up, and also we'll make sure it's all back to what it's supposed to be after we are done. I would also like to recognize Nick Persano, my associate director, who takes many calls in the evening when I'm trying to figure things out and supports me as I learned my job, and also we work together to get this ready. Leah Cooper, she's my social media guru. Where is she, Leah? There she is. So all the beautiful visuals on social media, Leah and her team of students. If you see people with cameras, those are our Harrington students. And finally, a special thank you to Rebecca Santagata, my coordinator, my right hand, for going above and beyond to make sure the planning was executed correctly. This would not be possible without her. Rebecca, she does not like spotlight. Where is she? She's already, yeah, okay. All right, so that's enough thanks from me. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce Katie Rady, a communication studies major in the class of 2024, who is originally from Allentown, Pennsylvania, and now lives in Kingston, Rhode Island. Katie has been recently named as one of the inaugural 100 recipients of the prestigious Obama Chesky Voyager Scholarship for Public Service. The Voyager Scholarship was created by the Obamas and Brian Chesky, the CEO of Airbnb, to help shape young leaders who can bridge divides and help solve our biggest challenges together. This scholarship provides college students with financial aid and to elevate the burden of college debt, as well as funding to travel and expand their horizon and engage them in network of mentors and leaders for support. Katie will be using this scholarship to pursue her interest in LGBTQ plus issues, and I'm honored to have her be our student speaker for today. So Katie, welcome.
Good morning, distinguished guests, faculty, staff, and fellow students. As she introduced, my name is Katie Reedy. I'm a major in communication studies, and I'm thrilled to be here as we celebrate the completed renovation of Ranger Hall, which is our new home of the Harrington School of Communication and Media. As I came of age, I noticed how many of my greatest heroes were experts at communication and how their abilities aided their work wherever they were. Strong communication skills are used everywhere, from the politician addressing crowds in an event to the journalist writing news in a clear way that anyone can understand, to the advisor identifying the needs of a student. When I arrived at the University of Rhode Island last year, I knew that learning these skills would help me to thrive. Over the past year studying at the Harrington School, I have certainly improved these skills. I'm a more effective speaker, my writing is clearer, and I feel better equipped to counsel others in tough situations. But more than that, I've learned that the heart of communication is understanding. To do this, I need to take the time to learn about my audience and meet them where they are at. This aspect of communication has been especially important in my work here at the Gender and Sexuality Center on campus. My communication education has been invaluable in providing support and resources on campus regarding LGBTQ+ issues. I have gained the skills needed to facilitate Safe Zone workshops, which provide students, staff, and faculty on campus with base knowledge on how to successfully communicate with LGBTQ+ people they encounter. On the Trans Inclusion Committee, I've been able to lead discussions on policies which can support trans students for many years to come. And at the Gender and Sexuality Center, we were able to meet with queer students to identify their needs and provide space for them to find community. The ability to communicate is essential to do all of this work, and it makes URI a safer and more welcoming campus. Our campus community comes from all walks of life and with many levels of knowledge regarding LGBTQ+ issues. Understanding that some people may have less experience with and knowledge of queer issues is just as important as them understanding us when it comes to building solidarity. When we all take the time to meet in good faith and build trust, we are able to communicate with each other, develop relationships, and build a community most effectively. Here at URI, Harrington students like myself are provided the education needed to develop the skills to encourage understanding and create communities of acceptance and solidarity. Thank you all for your part in making this happen, whether you're an alum whose contributions have funded these renovations, or one of the professors who is teaching the next generation of communication and media experts, or one of my fellow students who are growing their knowledge of communication. It is my hope that using what we learn here at the Harrington School, we can all work towards building a world that values solidarity, understanding, and community. Thank you.
How old are you, Katie?
I'm 22.
22. I did not have that poison presence when I was 22 years old. I did not have anywhere near that poison presence when I was 22 years old. So you are remarkable, and you're doing something right. When you're ready, take your time. Don't rush into the world. When you're sharing your resume, give me a crack at it. Give me a crack at it. Seriously, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I could go now. That made my day. That made my day. You always, when you return places, you always want to find them better than when you left them. Everything you do in life, the next time you go back, you want it to be better than when you left them. I have no complaints about when I was here. It was a remarkable place, and it kicked me out on the path, and it did me well. Much, as I said earlier, when I left, you don't appreciate it. You realize as you go a month later, a year later, 10 years later, 30 years later, what you got. It's clearly better than when I left, which is the goal. And which brings me the art of the segue as part of writing to what I'm here next to do. I'm going to introduce Dean Riley. She says I'm supposed to call her Jen. I call her Dean Riley. That's my parents. They're still with me to believe in titles. Jen Dean Riley has been the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences here at the Harrington School for Communication and Media. She joined URI in 2017, and in collaboration with the faculty and staff has helped guide the Ranger renovation, the growth of the Harrington School's enrollments, programs, and opportunities for students Dean Riley and I, or Jen, since we're in good company now, we've Zoomed. We've spent a lot of time on the screens in the last couple of years, which is what we have to do to get through what we had to get through. So it's an honor and a privilege for me, for someone who I've built up a relationship through email and Zoom, to get to see in person the work in this remarkable community. So let me get out of the way and bring up Dean Riley.
Good morning, I guess, still, to everyone. On behalf of the faculty and staff of the College of Arts and Sciences and the Harrington School of Communication and Media, I'm very pleased to welcome you to campus for this historic celebration. As I said last night, this is a fantastic week for the University of Rhode Island and the Harrington School as we celebrate the revitalized Ranger Hall. We've opened the doors for our students to incredible learning spaces, and we also were able to cap it off last night with a return to an in-person Christiana Amanpour lecture that featured Jane Ferguson, who's here with us again today and gave a terrific lecture. I'm your history person today. The Harrington School of Communication and Media was established in 2009 through a multi-million-dollar gift from Richard J. Harrington, class of 1973, former president and CEO of Thomson Reuters Corporation, and his wife, Jean. The revitalization of Ranger Hall began with the first phase completed in 2016 that renovated Ranger Hall's first floor, which we call the Harrington Hub. The students think of the MEC, where they get all of their equipment, and we think of the space there as the living room where everyone hangs out and joins together in community. That phase of the project created a film screening room, video editing suites with modern computers and software, computer labs, classroom space, and a living learning room for students to gather, study, and collaborate. And the Media Equipment Center was created as well and filled with the technology that our students need to be successful and to learn the skills to carry out into the world with them. The final phase of the renovation project that we're celebrating here today renovated Ranger's second, third, and fourth floors, opening an additional 23,600 square feet of usable space. That's amazing for URI and for our students. The newly completed work adds a total of 7 new classrooms, including active learning classrooms that provide students a learning environment designed for collaboration. We have 2 new editing suites available for visual media projects. The new film production lab, which we have used extensively in the last 24 hours with Associate Director Nick Corsano, filming people. John gave his time together for filming. Vlad Duthiers is here from CBS, gave his time for filming. So we've been very fortunate to take advantage of that. That production lab serves as a teaching soundstage with a green screen, property room, and space to build walled sets. So right in the historic quad here, students are inside creating, collaborating, storytelling. There are also informal study spaces throughout the building to provide students with spaces to work, chat, relax with classmates, and I've seen faculty taking advantage of those spaces and being in the hallways with our students in between the classes. And then a little bit of more brief history. Ranger Hall was built in 1914. It was named for Dr. Walter E. Ranger, who served as the Rhode Island State Commissioner of Schools and president of the Board of Managers for what was then called the Rhode Island College of Agriculture and the Mechanic Arts. Among other accomplishments, Walter Ranger published a report in 1909 assessing the value of the college to the state of Rhode Island and outlining ways in which the college could build on that value. That report played a significant role in raising the profile of the college within the state of Rhode Island and increasing state support for the institution. And hopefully they will continue to increase that support for the institution as we go forward for our good work here. Dr. Ranger's focus on the value of higher education is an opportunity to think about the value of the Harrington School, the value that the Harrington School delivers to our students. It's a value that's bolstered by this new facility. We find ourselves in a time when disinformation is rampant. Propagandists are manipulating social media, and there's the landscape of how we communicate with each other is in upheaval. It's perhaps never been more important to study communication, to train bright young journalists, documentarians, and filmmakers, to find new ways of disseminating information, and to nurture great writers and communicators, all of the things that the Harrington School does. And the value of these things has never been greater for all of us in our communities. I'm very grateful to our Harrington Advisory Council members and all the supporters of the Ranger renovation. You're part of this wonderful transformation, And as we look at these new classrooms, workspaces, and gathering places, let's remember why we built them and why the generosity of our donors is so important. Within these walls, countless students are going to find their life's passion. They'll learn, they're going to create, they're going to mold the future of how we communicate and how we move forward. It's an exciting time. I also have the privilege today and the honor of introducing you to Richard J. Harrington, who I met when I came here, and I'm very pleased I've learned from him. I've appreciated his advice and guidance and his steadfast support of the work that we do here at URI. An information media industry leader, Harrington, Richard Dick, is chairman emeritus of the Boston-based venture capital firm Q-Ball. He was formerly president and CEO of the Thomson Reuters Corporation, where he led the transformation of the company into the leading global provider of digital information, the 10th largest media company in the world. He serves on the board of directors for several companies and holds 2 degrees from URI, a BS from the College of Business, and an honorary Doctor of Laws. Dick and his wife, Jean, have been longtime steadfast supporters of URI and the development of the Harrington School of Communication and Media. We're here today celebrating the newly renovated Ranger Hall, in large part due to their support. Please join me in welcoming Dick Harrington.
I can actually introduce. You have the notes up here to introduce President Belange, but I'll give you my remarks. The lucky thing about being third is they've already said everything, most likely everything I was going to say. So I was going to talk about the new technology and all that, but they've all said it, and the technology is outstanding. I just have a few. So if I gave you a 30-second soundbite, and I said that since I've been involved with creating the Harrington School, which goes back to President Bob Crothers, and I guess it was on 2008, 2009, when the idea was up. I can't remember when we actually started. I've outlasted, well, I'm on my 3rd president, my 2nd dean of arts and sciences, and the 3rd person running Harrington School, Amina. Now, you would think, geez, what the hell's going on at URI? But what happened was Bob Crothers had the vision of creating the school, but he was retiring. It was probably within a year or so of he retired. And so he just come calling me and having me come down and talking to me and Gene until, we finally gave him the money to get it going. So he was very persistent. And then when we got going, then he turned it over to Winnie Brownell, who, how many years you were here? A gazillion years. 46 years. So Winnie was at the school for 46 years. So other than the courses, and our job was to stand up the school, right? We didn't have a school. We had a bunch of other schools that we had to put together as one. So we just, so we didn't know what to do. I mean, first time Winnie was asked to do it. And so I said to Winnie, well, what we have to do is do some research with businesses to try to get some idea of what does we have multiple, the University of Rhode Island has multiple customers. You have the student, you have the parent who pays for them, and you have the people who hire them, right? And so we have multiple customers, as well as you have to make sure that the faculty is engaged, that they love what they're doing, et cetera, et cetera. So you have multiple customers here at the school. So I thought it'd be a great idea if we got some students. We had money at the time, but it was going to go towards the renovation of the building. We did have a slush fund, so I had to learn with it too. But to be frugal, I said, why don't we create a course and get 6 students together, which we did, make it a credit course, and we can let them just research, call up companies, ask, we'll do a script, et cetera, call up companies, see what's going on. And of course, as when he said, well, I don't know if we could do it right away. I said, why not? You're the dean. I mean, you got to have some, clout here. And so the first technology we had in the school, first of all, we had one class because all the other classes existed. The first technology, and we had no place to do it because all the classrooms are full. So when he did it in her office, because a couple days a week, I basically dialed in, and the only technology he had was a speakerphone, right? So I could dial in and talk. There were 3 graduate students and 3 undergraduates, if I remember. When he ran the class, Rennie could go back to teaching. She ran the class. And then at the end of it, it was Dave Dooley, I think. Was he on board at that time? We gave a presentation to the president at the time. It was Dave Dooley, if I remember. Yeah. So at the end of that semester, we put all their work together. They put the presentation together. I came down again, Winnie, and then we went to one of the rooms that had the projector and stuff, and we did a slideshow on what they learned about calling up these businesses. I happen to know one of the businesses, someone who worked for one of the businesses, and he called me up one day and he said, Dick, the University of Rhode Island called me up and asked me questions, et cetera, et cetera. And he said, did you have something to do with that? I mean, I just couldn't understand why he got a call from them. But the important thing is that was the beginning of the school. And then Winnie, because of her 46 years at the school, knew how to work the system to be able to add staff, get conference rooms. And one of the biggest issues was just getting everything coded. Was it with an HS? I can't remember what the code was. Was it HAR? Yeah, the class is HAR. That was a big deal. I didn't know it was a big deal, but that was a big deal. So she had all the courses rescheduled. But that was kind of the beginning. And then we worked since then. Now, since then, luckily, Dave Dooley became president, and Dave was committed every time. And I was down here a lot, so every time I come down to meet with Winnie or to do something, Dave would always have lunch. So he really got involved at the school, even though his background is in chemistry. He really got involved with the school, and so that helped out significantly. And Dave was here for who got us Ranger Hall? Was it Dave or was it? Yeah, Dave was the one who assigned Ranger Hall. Which, for those of you who are here, to be able to get a piece of property in the Quadrangle is a big deal. That's a big deal. And again, as Jen said, we renovated the basement, the first floor, and we had to do some infrastructure work. Then we did the broadcast center, which is in another building, which came out beautifully. And then working with Dave, we got together and we finalized how we were going to accomplish and resolve the rest of the building, which when you see it is amazing. And the technology is something. Going from a speakerphone to what they have today is pretty amazing. And then Renee Hobbs was the first director, and Renee moved over to, I've written down here somewhere, but Renee was in her position for 3 years and did an awful lot of work in getting us up and getting us going. And then she moved over and took she heads up the media education lab now. Then Adam Roth came in as director, and Adam Roth took it to the next level. And then he got stolen as the Dean of Arts and Sciences for another university or college. I won't mention their name. Another college. And then Amina came, and like everything, each individual takes it to the next level, right? That's their new base, is the base that they take over. So when you consider what we went from going way back to where we are today, and the strategy that Amina wants to develop and to execute and implement, it's very, very exciting. But the most important thing, and by the way, the faculty, a lot of this is for the faculty, also the faculty and staff, so they can have the best tools and equipment to work with, so they can enjoy and have fun doing their job. But most importantly, it's all for the students. The most important thing is for the students. And as John said, yeah, I mean, I always joke, John, that I probably couldn't get into school again, right? So it's, and it took me a long time to get out, actually. Mainly because I took some time off in the middle. But someone asked me how come I never got an MBA. I said because it took me too long to get my undergrad. But I do have a doctoral degree from URI. I didn't know you just had to give money and you get one. That was pretty good. No, I got it before I actually gave any money. I was, to be honest, I headed up a capital campaign for the school, for the Ballantyne Hall, and that was I didn't realize at the time, but that was, but Bob Carruthers thought that'd be a nice thing to do. So the other thing, so I've been here the longest. It cost me money. It cost me money to be here, but it's been a lot of fun, and it's great to see it. It just, when you tour the building, especially, I knew how it began and the issues and all the complications we had to deal with to stand it up and go. It's really unbelievable what it's become and what it can be, right? And for the students that are here, and if you're teachers, you should express this to them. They have an accountability themselves in learning. They have the opportunity to take advantage, whether it's technology, the professors, the internships, et cetera. It's their responsibility to do that, right? They can't come to class and just not do anything. I tried that for a while, it didn't work. But they can't do that. They have to be accountable for themselves. And I think when you're like that and you have the energy and the excitement and you find your passion in whatever you do after you leave here, you'll be successful. John was successful. I was successful. Many, many people from the University of Rhode Island out there are successful people. You know, I had up the capital campaign, and the largest campaign. They started with going after 250 million, and we changed that to 300 million, and we have a very high probability of obtaining that. And when you go back and tell your students, it's important that the students understand to pay back at some particular point in time. My first donation to the University of Rhode Island was 1974. It was $100. If you told me, as John said, if you told me that I'd be here with a building, not a building, but with the school in my name, and even have the money to be able to do it, Jeannie and I are very pleased that we have that ability. I probably would have laughed, right? I just could have never figured that out. But it's all about the students. It's all about the excitement of the school. And now Mark is the new President Pelage. I should go with the titles. President, I'll call you President Mark. So, you know, Mark and I have talked many times, and he fully supports the school. You're correct, right? That's a correct statement. I figured. I'm also get you in front of all these witnesses. But no, Mark supports the school, and as Jen said, you know, we all knew that understanding social media and being a good journalist or good writers or being able to explain yourself is needed more than ever. And as Jane Ferguson said last night, you know, it's the story's not about you as an individual. The story is about the story and really understanding the best way to express it and the best way to get it across. And I think that's needed in this society if we want to continue. So I think we all play an important role, at least at the University of Rhode Island, you know, to really produce the best students we can produce and give them the tools and the opportunities to get ahead. Thank you very much. Great day. Go see the school if you hadn't seen it.
You see how good Dick is at what he does. We went from sources say the president supports the school to getting him on the record with cameras right there. You know, they keep the, I was about to say tapes. It's not tapes anymore. They keep the digital cards for that. Dean, I didn't see you when I came up here. It's nice to see you again. It's great to see you as well. Working the system and slush fund. Now I know I'm back in Rhode Island. It's good to be here. I got a bench, you get a building, so, which means I have to get a couple more promotions so that I can come in behind the next generation following the generosity. Dick reminded me earlier, we met years ago when he was on the AP board, back when I was just getting started in this business, and the open mind he shows. We were joking about, I was at a meeting years ago where all the great bosses I had at the AP came into a room and they said, there's this thing called the internet. And we think it's going to have a modest impact on our business. And so we need to think about it. They were great bosses. It's not that they didn't have the vision, it was just we didn't know. And the ability of somebody as gifted and as talented and as committed as Dick to constantly learn, the technology is changing as I'm standing here. And so the ability of people who are successful to then realize, well, okay, that experience, it was great. It's mostly useless now in some ways. A lot of what you learn in this business, you hope it helps you. Sometimes you have to have an open mind to realize the world doesn't work that way anymore. And so the ability to adapt and flex is why you're such a great man and a great asset to this institution. Let me keep the program moving here. That's my job. Mr. and Mrs. Harrington, thank you for your committed service and support of this great place. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. It is why I look around, it's a great community, but sometimes there are standout individuals in the community that make things even better, and the Harringtons are on that list of standout members of this community. I have the great gift now. I was telling some of the students this morning, the next presidential campaign will be my 10th. I covered my first presidential campaign at the ripe age of 24, not long after I left this place. And so some of my career has been defined by covering presidential campaigns. I get to interview presidents sometimes. That's a great high honor. Now I get to introduce a president, which is another great honor for me. Our next speaker is our president here at the University of Rhode Island, President Mark Parlan. Should I be President Mark? What do we like? I'm going to borrow from the leader there. University of Rhode Island's 12th president. Over a 30-year career in higher education, he has held academic leadership, research, and faculty positions at Monash University. Am I saying that right?
Actually, very good.
Very good. Okay, good. The University of British Columbia, the Swiss Public Research Institute, EPFL, Johns Hopkins, and the University of California, Davis. A recognized expert researcher in environmental fluid mechanics and a member of the U.S. National Academy of Engineering and a fellow of the Canadian National Academy of Engineering. A native Rhode Islander. We like that. Born in Providence. I was in Providence last night. I was in Boston last night for an event. I'm sorry I couldn't be here for the Amanpour lecture. That was my first job. That city is, wow, I was lost. I was walking around a place that I worked for 5 years, and I was like, where am I? It's amazing. It's breathtaking. President Parlan is happy, thrilled to be back here in Rhode Island, living on campus and enjoying all this great institution has to offer. Please, Mr. President.
Well, first of all, it's great to see all of you here this morning. This is a big deal. I want to say that there's just so many wonderful people here that we're able to celebrate with. I want to first of all mention that last night's seminar and talk was wonderful. And Vlad, I knew you were famous when you came in, but I'm not good with names, but we're very proud of all our alums. So the discussion that the two of you did last night was just really wonderful. I want to, Jean and Dick. Dick, I didn't know you were so funny, but and for those that don't know, Jean's an expert in agriculture. We started comparing notes about our gardens and what we grow. And John, you may see some chickens wandering around. Those are mine. Yeah, no, it's great to be here. A lot of things. This is really about a place for ideas, or a place about really taking the fantastic new knowledge that's generated at the university, and it's really going to be transformative. I have to say that I'm a little bit competitive, John. So I suggest, when you watch ESPN Plus and you'll see the coverage that our students do on our sports. I mean, the other schools, I won't mention names, but they're pretty good. But we are a notch above. It is really professionally well done. I'm so proud of the students. Katie, wonderful talk. I think you were maybe the first student I met with Annie when I first arrived way back when, and I knew that you were, warm welcome. And then Amina, you're doing a fantastic job with the school, so thank you. And Jen, fantastic dean, College of Arts and Sciences. There's all kinds of good things happening here, but the Harrington School is really a special place. And so this is really good. I just wanted to say, just looking out at all our accomplished alumni, the advisory boards, thank you to the many of you that are here. We're really proud of you. Look, our students are really the best, the brightest, the most creative, the most intelligent, the most insightful. I know that they're going to go far. We never talk about the grades, what happened before. It's the next step. It's all good. And look, this is really going to be a place for collaboration, for honest discussion. And I think it's something that we're going to feel really, really good about. I'm looking forward to going inside. It's had, of course, the fences and all the construction that's been going on, but it is going to be a place for really ideas, really presentation of ideas, communication, and this is important. So I really look forward to seeing what the future holds, and I really want to say onward, Rhody. And now the best part of the job, I always thought I had never been a president of a university, and I always thought that the job of the president of the university was to do ribbon cuttings. And I have to admit, this is only my third ribbon cutting since I've been here. We've done Talent Development House, we've done the Veterans Center, and now we get to do Harrington. So this is a very special day. Warm welcome, everyone. And I understand that I'm supposed to invite everybody now to oh, John. Okay. John and I invite you Yeah. Okay. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll do it together. For those of you who have worked in television, you get this little earpiece, so you get extra voices in your head. Like you don't have enough already, you get extra voices in your head. So this is a rap. That's what they would say. They would say rap. Before I do, I do want to say I was unable to make the lecture last night. CNN's a special place on this campus because my great colleague, Christiane Amanpour, also is an alumni of this great university. I did not know that. I worked for the Associated Press covering the first Persian Gulf War. She was a little ahead of me. She's older than me. I like to remind her of that. Covering the first Persian Gulf War, I walked out of the hotel suite in Dhahran once, and there was Christiane Amanpour smoking a cigarette back in those days, wearing a URI sweatshirt. She already worked for CNN. And I said, "Where'd you get that?" She said, "Well, I went to the University of Rhode Island." and now we're colleagues at the same time. And I spoke to her during our coverage of the Prime Minister's resignation in the UK the other day. She was on my show, and we were chatting off the air beforehand, and I told her I was coming here, and she said that she was quite jealous. So she extends her thanks and her solidarity with the community as well. At this point, here we go. Ready? Now, are we going to walk over there? Are we directing? How are we going to do this? We're going to walk over to do this? We're going to walk over. Okay, we're going to leave the confines of this tent. It will still remain a beautiful New England day. We're going to go over to the steps of Ranger Hall, where the President and Dick Harrington will conduct the ribbon cutting. Thank you all for being here. It's really an amazing day. Right?
Yeah.
you.